Hey, it's Kelby. In this video, I'm going to lift up the hood and show you how the AI optimization engine works. You absolutely do not need to know anything in this video in order to use the engine, but I think some people will find it very interesting, and I hope you do too. Let's get to it. There are many different kinds of artificial intelligence that solve very different kinds of problems. Nowadays, the one you hear about the most is machine learning, and in particular, a subclass of machine learning called neural networks. Neural networks excel at pattern recognition, and we use them to create image recognition software, speech recognition software, large language models, other types of generative AI, and pretty much anything that involves patterns. Another very common form of AI is pathfinding algorithms. Pathfinding algorithms excel at finding the least costly route from point A to point B. Your navigation app on your phone or car uses a pathfinding algorithm. Rock My Retirement uses a type of AI called an optimization algorithm. Optimization algorithms are in no way similar to neural networks, pathfinding algorithms, or anything you've probably used before. Instead, it's a very unique type of AI that excels at finding a combination of variables that maximizes a function. In our case, we want to find a combination of retirement strategies that will best achieve your retirement goals. Now, you might wonder, why do we need to use AI for that? Why not just try out all possible combinations of values for the variables and see what works best? I'm so glad you asked. Let me show you. Rock My Retirement has 4 categories of variables that you can optimize. Each category has many variables, and each variable has many possible values. As an example, suppose you have a spouse and you have one checking account, one savings account, one brokerage account, and one traditional 401k. The number of possible combinations of the relevant variables is staggering. It is approximately 2.25 times 10 to the 31st power. That's 22.5 nonillion combinations, which is a math term most people have probably never heard. To try out every combination, we would need to run a set of simulations for all scenarios based on each combination of variables. Let's look at how much work that would be. I have a pretty fast desktop computer. It's not a supercomputer, but I have a 16-core i9-14900K processor and 128 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It can run a complete set of simulations for approximately 350 combinations of values per second. That works out to 21,000 combinations per minute, or 1.25 million combinations per hour, or 30 million combinations per day, or 11 billion combinations per year. So the number of years it would take my reasonably fast computer to run all possible combinations is approximately 2 times 10 to the 21st power, which we call a sextillion years. My retirement will be over long before then. So we need a faster way. Optimization algorithms are the answer. Optimization algorithms specialize in finding the proverbial needle in the haystack, except in this case, our 22.5 nonillion pieces of hay would cover the entire Earth in a layer 45,000 miles high, which is nearly 20% of the weight of the moon. And with a needle, at least you'd know when you found it. In our case, we're looking for the piece of hay that best achieves 4 different objectives, let's say length, width, moisture content, and greenness. How would you even know if you found it? Well, optimization algorithms have some pretty cool tricks up their sleeves. Since they can only examine a very tiny subset of all the hay, they look at a few places, and then they use what they learn to choose where to look next. They do that over and over until they can conclude that they've found about the best they can find. If they're well designed, they do an unbelievable job of figuring out where to look for the best piece of hay. Now, there are many types of optimization algorithms, but the one that is ideal for our situation is called a genetic algorithm. To oversimplify it radically, it is similar to how evolution works. First, we create something called a population, which consists of things we call individuals. Each individual is one possible combination of values for the variables we want to optimize. Then we run our simulations on each individual combination of values, to see how well it meets our goal, or in this case, our goals. Then we use a process called pairing, in which we basically pick pairs of individuals that we blend in order to create individuals for the next generation. The pairs are selected randomly, but the individuals who did the best job meeting our goals are more likely to be selected. Then we use a process called crossing over. We take each pair of individuals and we select some values from each individual to make a new individual for the next generation. Next, we mutate some of the values, randomly nudging values to vary them a little. When we're done, we've created a new generation of individuals, and we can repeat the process. We do this many, many times until we think we're getting pretty good answers. It typically takes hundreds of generations, with 100 or more individuals in each generation. That might seem like a lot, but by the time we're done, we're probably only testing around 50 to 100,000 combinations of values, which is a lot less than the 22.5 nonillion combinations we started with. Now, we won't end up with the absolute best combination possible, but we'll usually get something quite close. And my computer can do all this in just a few minutes. Even if you have a slow computer, you should be able to get results in less time than it takes to have a cup of coffee. Now, admittedly, I radically oversimplified what happens under the hood. One example is the part where I said we stop when we think we're getting pretty good answers. Of course, it can be very difficult to know whether you've found the good answers if there are more than 2 nonillion combinations you still haven't tried. The way I solve that is by monitoring things called convergence and diversification. Convergence tells us the degree to which we keep finding equally good answers each time we look. Diversification tells us the degree to which we're looking in different places. Diversification is important because it ensures that you don't get stuck in a spot with less than optimal answers. It's sort of like being on top of a small hill when the real goal is to get to the top of the tallest mountain. When you're on top of that small hill, it seems like it's down in every direction, so you might think you're as high as you can go. But in order to know that there are taller mountains off in the distance, you have to focus on spaces beyond your little hill. So in each generation, Rock by Retirement measures diversification by calculating the degree to which the individuals are dissimilar. Think of it as the degree to which individuals are far away from each other in my hill and mountain example, except that Rock by Retirement operates in a 4-dimensional space, and that does complicate the math. If the individuals start getting too close together, Rock by Retirement adjusts some of the constants in the algorithm so that we're generating more varied individuals. If our algorithm converges while maintaining diversity, that's a pretty good sign that we're finding some of the best combinations out there. So if that continues for a while, Rock My Retirement fine-tunes the algorithm's constants again to really start fine-tuning the individuals, hoping that maybe we can find combinations that are even slightly better. We repeat that until either we stop seeing improvement or until we reach the maximum number of generations that I've picked so that you don't have to wait forever to get results. Today, I've set that at 300 generations, and it seems to be a pretty good compromise. But I might tinker with that more in the future. Well, that wraps up this video on how the AI optimization engine works. I put a lot of time and effort into building this engine. And for me personally, it's done an amazing job helping me tweak my strategies in ways that I never would have come up with on my own. And I also hope they help you rock your retirement.